Hello, welcome back. This is another short episode, and this time I want to address the display namespace. Because, well, I don't even know what I was thinking here, but all of this is pretty bad practice, and you're not really meant to be using namespaces in this way. So what we're going to do is get rid of the namespace and replace it with another Meyer singleton class. So essentially that means replacing the display calls with display get calls. So we're going to address that first of all. So for example, display is open would turn into display get bracket dot is open. So we can actually replace all of these with display get pretty easily. In code blocks you can press Ctrl, Shift and R and you'll get this menu here. Now you can probably do this on other IDEs because I know some people are following along in like Visual Studio as well. I'm not really sure how you do that in that, but I assume it's pretty similar. But anyways, you can basically search for text and then replace it with something instantly. And we want to do just every file in our project, so we'll just do project files. So the text that we want to search for is display : and we want to replace it with display : get bracket dot, like that. And then you can just press replace and then press all. And then it will automatically replace all of the calls. Now for now this isn't going to compile obviously because the display namespace is still a namespace and we don't even have a get function in here. So yes, we have to fix up the display namespace now. So yesterday we actually made a singleton header file where we have a singleton class, and someone pointed out yesterday this, and he was correct. This here, the virtual destructor, is not actually needed because we're not actually going to be using the singleton class polymorphically. But anyways, the singleton class is going to be used to create the display singleton. So we have to include util singleton to make our lives a bit easier here. And sorry, I went a bit fast there. So basically, just in the display.h file, I've included the singleton header file. So a good start here would be simply to get rid of the namespace. So in the .h file, we're going to replace namespace display with class display. And then in the .cpp file, we can just get rid of the namespace display entirely because it doesn't even exist anymore. So we have to, don't forget, we have to remove the namespace display at the top and then the closing curly brace at the bottom. And to make things look neater, I'm just going to move all of this back, and I did that by holding down Alt and dragging my mouse. I can just press backspace to get rid of all of that. Right, so that's a good start. So I guess the next thing to do is to add the public and private sections to this class. So at the moment everything here can just be public, and move it forwards. And I'm also going to add a private section at the bottom. So next we're going to get rid of this init function because this can simply be replaced by a constructor. So like I said earlier, singleton constructors should be privatized. So in the private section I put a private constructor, and then I'm just going to get rid of this init here. And then back in the .cpp file we're going to replace this init function with the constructor, like so. Pretty simple. And the next important step is probably to actually inherit from the singleton class. So let's just go ahead and make the display class inherit from the singleton class now. So the next step is to actually add a get function so we can actually get the class from the singleton. So that has to be a public static function that returns a reference to the display called static display, and it's just going to be called get. So the implementation of this, of course, you probably already know by now, is simply just display get. So we just have to put display there, so C++ knows that belongs to the display class. And then we have to create a static display inside of this function, which means it will only be created once because it's static. And then we can just return it from the function. Return display. Simple as that. And while we're here in the .cpp file, I'm just going to copy and paste this display : and then put this in front of all of the functions that we already have here because they now belong to display display class. So I just put display : in front of all the function names there. So the next thing we're going to do is replace this global variable here with just a plain old class member. So we can actually get rid of one of these header files here. We can get rid of the memory header, and we have to actually copy and paste the sfml graphics include into the display header. And I'm also going to get rid of this header. I have no idea why that is even here, but whatever. And then we're going to get rid of this one because we're not going to be needing that anymore. And the reason we're not going to be needing it anymore is because, like I said earlier, it's going to be replaced with a simple class member. And that class member is going to be a plain old SF window called mwindow. I'm not sure to spell that correctly. Alright, cool, so this is actually the header file completed now, so we can just go into the .cpp file, and the next step is to get rid of all these dereference to the window, because that window pointer doesn't actually exist anymore because it got replaced with the class member. So once again I'm going to be pressing Ctrl-Shift-R, and this time I'm going to be replacing window arrow dereference pointer thingy with mwindow dot, because we replaced the unique pointer to the window with the mwindow class member. So again, I'm just going to replace it with all of it in there. Okay, so far so good, and I think the final step is to simply replace this with something, because we're not actually using the unique pointer anymore, so we don't need to do any of this std make unique stuff. So this can be replaced with mwindow.create, and then I'm just going to be cheap and copy and paste all of those arguments into there, and I'm just going to move it around to make it neater. And then I'm just going to delete the std make unique cool. And I believe that is pretty much it. Oh wait, no it's not, because we have this function here, and I believe that can't actually be overloaded. So with the function that returns a reference to a SF window, we're going to change the name of that one to get raw, because it, it sort of just returns the raw window now. And well, the window isn't actually being dereferenced anymore because we're going to be returning just straight returning the plain old class member. So yeah, and that also has to be done in the implementation file, of course. So that is the get raw function. It now returns the SF render window. And I just realised these const expr variables, because they're in a class now, they have to be const expr static, because that's just how it works. Const expr members have to be static. That's just how it is. And there also has to be a semicolon after the class declaration. Okay, so that was the final step, I hope. So let's try and compile this now. Alright, what's going on here? SF now set position, the position we want to set, and the second argument is the window. So yeah, we just changed the name of that to get raw, so we just have to change this display get.get to display get.get raw. Alright, let's try that again. Okay, the constructor was void for some reason in the display.cpp file, so just get rid of that void there. Let's try and compile again. Alright, for this one here we're going to be replacing display get.init with just display get, because that will do the same thing and initialize the display. And well, we're not actually going to get rid of this because OpenGL needs to be initialized before anything happens, otherwise we could get a potential crash, so we're just going to leave that there. Okay, awesome, it finally compiled. So basically in this episode what we did is we replaced the display namespace with a somewhat more sophisticated display class singleton thing. So yeah, let's actually test if this actually still runs, and it sure does. So anyways, so once again, thank you for watching, and in the next episode we're going to be creating the chunk mesh class. So that's step 1 towards drawing the chunk on the window, so that's pretty exciting stuff. So anyways, thank you for watching once again, and goodbye.